City Council Chamber. Can I please have a roll call?
Of course. Commissioner Cagle?
Here.
Commissioner Klein is absent. Chair Pucci is absent. Commissioner Melendez?
Here.
Commissioner Tanner is absent. Commissioner Sharma?
Yeah.
Vice Chair Christian Kelly?
Here. Okay, Commissioners, can we do a salute to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the order of agenda as is?
I make a motion to approve the order of agenda as is.
I'll second that.
Diane and Ashish approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries. Sorry. Blue folder items. Blue folder items are additional backup material to administrative reports and/or public comments received after the printing and distribution of the agenda packet for receive and file. Are there any blue folder items?
Not tonight.
So that then. So we receive and file, we approve?
There is no blue folder items to receive and file, so we can move on to the next one.
We move on, that's right. Apologize. Okay, consent calendar. Business items except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion are assigned to the consent calendar. The commissioner members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed, and acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken up under the excluded consent calendar section below. Those items remaining on the consent calendar will be approved in one motion following oral communications. Are there any members of the commission or public that wish to pull items for further discussion?
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Okay. No comments. Then there's, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? Is that right? Is there a motion to approve the consent? Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Can I second it if I'm the chair? I'm so sorry. Can I? Okay, thank you so much. I was like, am I allowed? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So for the record, that was Commissioner Cagle, Commissioner
Oh, that's
Sharma. So Commissioner Cagle made the first motion, no seconded by Commissioner Sharma.
Thank you. Motion carries. Affidavit of posting,
We just approved that.
that's right. Excluded calendars,
There were no excluded consent calendar items.
okay, and I can move on. Okay, public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. Written requests, if any, will be considered first under this section. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Okay, thanks.
Just a quick question. When this is a special meeting for a particular set of agendas, why do we have to go through the public of non-agenda items and all that stuff? Like we would go for a regular meeting.
Because we still need to go through these steps, so there still might be public here or public online or on Zoom that want to make comments about public art or something related to this commission and are taking this opportunity to do so, but it may not be on this agenda. So they still have that opportunity to interact with the commission and share their thoughts. We want to always make that available to the public as part of the process.
That's part of the process.
Yes. Okay.
every meeting it has to be this kind of an order? Okay.
Okay.
So since there are no public comments on non-agenda items, would you like to move on to the next
Yes,
item?
yes. So to J, right?
To J, yes.
Items for discussion prior to action. Discussion and possible action regarding a request for qualifications, RFQ, for a public art consultant to support the Artesia Public Art Project. Do you have a presentation?
So Gary Margolis, our cultural arts manager, has a verbal presentation. The administrative report, if you had an opportunity to read it, did answer a lot of concerns and questions from the previous meeting, but he's going to go ahead and walk you through a few key points now.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. Gary Margolis, Cultural Arts Manager. So at the last commission meeting, this item came up for the initial discussion, and there were questions that you had that encouraged you to ask us to bring it back. I think in particular, you were interested in some more information about why a consultant was necessary, especially given the skills and the expertise that you bring to the commission. And also, if we were to hire a consultant, what would your role be? Specifically, what work would there still be for you to do? So I'm going to try to answer those questions today and listen to your comments about how we can make sure that the skills and the talents that you bring to the table, are used to the maximum, and that we work your butts off.
All right.
So if you'll remember in the draft RFP, it calls out the, well, first let me start with, why a consultant, is needed. Since I've been here, you've all made it, very clear how frustrating it's been that, projects haven't been moving forward. And, you're absolutely right about that. And when you actually look at the history of the program, other than the utility boxes that have been wrapped, there hasn't been a completed public art project using funds from the John Parsons Public Art Fund since the Gordon Huther piece, in 2018. So, it's been 6 years since a project has been completed, and that's a good reason to be frustrated. One of the major reasons why things don't move forward is that there isn't enough staff that's dedicated to work on it, every minute that it needs to be worked on. From time to time over that period, there have been people in my role, but in this role, includes more than public art, and a big chunk of what I was hired to do is the Performing Arts Center, and that's really that could be a full-time job for somebody. But in addition to that, there's the Historic Museum and then the Public Art Program. A consultant wouldn't, let me put it this way, the consultant that we would hire would be somebody who had the time to dedicate to making sure that this got moved forward on a schedule that you would define. So, if someone wants to apply for the consultant job, and they're already working 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week on other projects, we would say, well, this is probably going to require, 10 or 20 or 30 hours a week. Do you really want to be working 70 or 80 hours a week, right? We need to find somebody who has the time and the expertise and the experience, to move the project along on the timeline that you define, all right? So if it's going to take 1 year, which, that's going to be really hard to do, then we need somebody who can work 200 hours a week. If it's going to take 2 years, or more, then that's more reasonable, and we could probably find somebody to do that. So that's the main reason for having a consultant, is that I want to see, and the council members, want to see this happen. This is the most important public art project that Redondo Beach has ever attempted, in my estimation. Certainly in terms of the amount of money that's being allocated for it, it is, and the potential. I do believe that that Vulcan's piece at Gateway Parquet is going to be iconic, and that it's going to bring a lot of attention to the city. And it'll be very, very significant. This one will be significant in another way, in that it's a unique project even across the United States, because there are very few creative placemaking projects that span as broad that cover the length that we're talking about, from Inglewood to aviation. I mean, that's a big span of space. And the number of pieces that could be installed along that space could easily be in the dozens. So it's a lot of work. And if that's a different artist for every piece, which I'm hoping it won't be. I'm hoping we find, a smaller number of artists that can do multiple pieces. But think about what that would mean. If we end up commissioning 25 artists to do pieces, and they all have to have contracts, and their designs all have to go to city council, and all of that work has to be done. I mean, that's a full-time job for somebody. Okay. All right, so that's basically the answer to that question. And then if you have questions about that, you can ask them now, or you can, wait till.
I have questions.
Okay.
To be blunt, I discussed this last time. You brought up a lot of the information about the length of time it's been between having projects accomplished here in the city. I've been pretty vocal about my intentions about being on this commission and what I've expected while I'm here. And I don't know how everybody else feels and why they're on the commission, what their intentions are. But for me in particular, it's a little it's disheartening and a little disrespectful to the people that have volunteered their time up here in the way that some of this has been presented, in the fact that you literally just kind of like, hey, so we're having all this hard time getting things done, and then we're talking about investing power and money into somebody that we volunteered for this commission for, and I kind of take a hit personally in the respect that the way you presented this, and not you, I mean, I don't know if it's the council either, but the fact that I've spent the last 2 years up here trying to get things done, and then all of a sudden we're going to vest all this power and interest into somebody that supposedly has more experience than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people from Redondo Beach that have a keen interest in presenting art to the city. Let me finish.
Okay.
At that point, I don't know why I'm here anymore. Like, I wouldn't want to be here. You're talking about 25, I don't know how many pieces you just described, but those are the things why I volunteered here to do. So I'm just saying, from the get-go, for me personally, I'm open to hear everything else. I agree that there has to be a comprehensive idea for the whole corridor. I get that. Like, it makes sense to have, instead of a hodgepodge of things, a unified vision for that area. But the excitement coming from you that someone else is going to just magically take care of all this stuff for us, that we all kind of excited. Like, I come here because I'm excited to get a mural. I'm not the artist. All I get to do is talk. But then now we're going to put this power in, I don't know. It's just got a bad taste in my mouth the way it gets presented, that some guy or some person, a group, we're vesting into them the power and the finances for them. Like, somehow they get carte blanche just to do 25 projects, and then we just get to vote. Like, I'm going to let you continue. I just this was my opportunity to address this particular portion of your presentation and just to get my out.
I'm just, because I want us all to maybe have a voice. Would you like to do your presentation first so we can see it more? Then we can also
sure.
reflect a little bit afterwards more.
I agree.
I would think that because there might be something more that maybe we're not hearing also, just that way.
No, that was my fault. I asked for questions.
No, that way, we can all hear each other.
Okay, yeah, well, so let me finish, and then if I have a chance, I'll go back and talk about that. So the only other part of my presentation was going to be to talk about, your role, and actually that's, would be what I would say, in addressing Commissioner Melendez's comments. Nothing changes in your role. I mean, your role, you're still the final level of decision-making recommendation before something goes to City Council. No power is being taken away from you. I can't do that. The only people who could do that would be City Council. So your role doesn't change at all. The only thing that a consultant would do is the same thing that I've been doing, but hopefully better and hopefully faster, right? So they wouldn't have, they be bringing all of their recommendations and reports and information and whatever they do to you. Now, in addition, though, to all of the things you've already been doing in the past, I did try to put together a list of additional ways, since you did mention at the last meeting that you would like to be even more involved and to be able to do work outside of commission meetings, the kind of things that you could do that would be in support of the Artesia project. So basically, all I did was I looked at the 4 tasks that I had identified at the last meeting and then say, what are the things that the commissioners would do in addition to what the consultant's doing? So for example, in the first one, the existing conditions assessment. So the consultant, whether they're local or they come from somewhere, outside of the local area, they're going to need help identifying the existing examples of public art along the boulevard. And remember that to the extent that you're able to help them with any of the tasks that we've identified, that decreases their number of billable hours. So it's very possible that rather than paying them 10% of the total budget, if you guys are willing to do a lot of that work, we only may be paying them 8% or 7%. So you have the ability to bring down, because I know a lot of people feel like they want to spend the public funds on art, and they're not crazy about spending it on, traffic control or on consultants or anything. I get that. I was really upset that in the utility wraps project that we spend $1,500 on the plastic, and we spend $350 on the artist. I mean, that seems out of balance to me. I'd like to spend more money, but that's another story. Right? So, okay, helping identify the public art. Explain their history and their significance. So for those of you who've lived, in the community, this mural that's on the side of this, thrift store or this tattoo parlor or this, whatever it is, that was there because back in the day, this was what was going on in the city. And I mean, that's important to know because that's the place keeping part of it. Arrange for meetings between the property owners and the consultant. So if you know these folks, you can help with that. Share with the consultant examples of untried ways that public art could be integrated. I could go through this list, but I assume that you've all read the report, so I don't want to spend a lot of time doing that. If you'd like me to, I can come back to it. But that's what I tried to do in the administrative report, was to show you all of the ways that you could increase the amount of work that you're currently doing if you're so inclined to do so, and then save money in the fund. In addition to, nothing is being taken away from you in terms of the work that you are, mandated to do by City Council. So I'll stop here unless you would want me to continue, but I think I made the points that I wanted to make.
Thank you, Gary. So if you guys have comments or discussion you want to take on, now's the time to do so.
Again, I don't want to be like I feel like I'm the downer of this whole thing, but like, I mean, your position as the cultural art manager, and I'm asking this because I don't know the parameters for which you are positioned here in the city. So I'm trying to find out what your responsibilities are. Like it sounds like you're trying to do this to help us. No offense, but like it sounds like you're requesting some kind of assistance in the performance of your duties. Is that correct? Like your position,
Well, sure, that's true. Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
so
because if I have to do it all, by myself, the process will be much slower. Progress will be much slower.
okay. So my question outside of what you presented is, as far as you see it, what are your responsibilities as a cultural arts manager here for Redondo Beach?
Well,
Is it just a performing arts center?
No. My responsibilities are the Performing Arts Center, the Public Art Commission, and the Historical Commission, and the Historical Museum.
Okay, so based on the information and responsibilities of what you're supposed to be doing for your position, you're finding it difficult to execute the duties of your position.
No, so let me get this conversation back on track. Okay,
Yeah.
so the city manager made it very clear during this initial presentation to the city council that Gary can for sure do this exact work. But that means many other projects and many other efforts will be slowed down quite a bit. And this project itself would not be expedited. It would take a very long time. So that's what council wanted, and that's why they dedicated the funds to this effort. So that was the city manager.
So city council themselves have requested a consultant.
Council has approved the consultant.
Okay, that makes sense. Then what do we don't even really have to talk then if they approve.
Well, it gives you an
no,
opportunity
I
to
get
speak
it.
to
No,
the
but-
RFQ.
but if
And the
that's-
RFQ isn't just about the consultant, like selecting or deciding on whether or not to have a consultant. It's about what exactly the consultant does. So this item was brought to you to discuss those steps.
I got you.
Discuss
That
your
makes
role
more
in the
sense.
process. Yeah.
That the framework, I guess, is a little different than I guess I kind of figured is. So we're just here just to talk
Look at the
about it.
RFQ.
the
Yeah,
forecasts
yeah.
are nice because I think it does kind of give it more.
Yeah,
of a
so,
detail.
No, you're not
so
wrong. I
Gary
didn't- I
did a
didn't-
really good job. He went through the 4 tasks outlined in the RFQ for the consultant. He addressed several points where the commission, if you guys choose to, you can volunteer time to take on some of that workload, and just depending on how involved you want to be. And like he said, it might very well result in us paying a lower commission to the consultants. So if they don't have to do all this work and the commissioners want to take on the work, we'll see where that lands in the
I
final
guess I'd
agreement.
adjust my comments again if that's you know what I mean? Like the feelings of it, it's not necessarily, I mean, if this has been, we're just here to talk about.
And also, don't we also let the public?
It's for the
They-
public
yeah,
and
yeah,
for the
yeah.
commissioners.
For sure.
But it was just an opportunity for you to really understand what we're asking of the consultant. And if there's anything outstanding or that stood out to you, or if there's a particular section where you said, hey, the commission really wants to take this over, it was just an opportunity for you all to discuss it as a group and give us further direction. But if you read the RFQ and you're happy with your role in this activity, the way Gary outlined it in the report, then you can approve the RFQ. And he can start working on releasing it and looking for that consultant.
Like you said, if it depends on the involvement that we all want to commit to. So like
Well-
when we do subcommittees and,
No,
when
for sure. But I mean, if the council's already decided that they want this, this is our role here. It says it right here.
Yeah.
Volunteer to be a goodwill ambassador. So that's it. That's all we're
What?
talking
No,
about.
that's one little piece of it.
Yeah.
I understand, but it already seems like, this is what I'm saying is like the whole thing from 2018 till now, we've all been pretty excited about other projects and things that haven't gone through for whatever reason. And now somehow someone else is going to come in and they get that Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like to me.
This is just for the Artesia corridor. This is just for.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
But remember your park thing?
Yeah,
right?
I'm still, I haven't given up on that.
I understand, but that's what I'm saying is the power and the financial deficit, like all of this has been allocated for someone else now. That's all I'm saying is like we all
Right.
volunteered to do stuff
Right.
like this. And now we've got someone because of,
Well, and also they
circumstances
already made the vote for it.
yeah, they did. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah,
Like we're just
yeah.
talking about,
So if you look in the staff report, it was January 9th, 2024.
I mean, so we're just talking.
But that wasn't when the project was first approved.
It's when they appropriated the funding for the project and approved the consultant.
Yeah, I mean, they've been yeah, right.
Can we talk about the funding, like how much the funding is, where it's coming from? Can we address that, please?
So yeah, that is in the report as well. The council allocated for now $400,000 towards the Artesia project, and 10% of that, or up to 10% of that, would go for the consultant. So that would be $40,000.
So that's out of our fund or their fund? I missed.
The John Parsons Art Fund.
Okay, okay. Somehow I missed that.
I'm good. I don't.
Isn't part of the fund that we cannot use it for anything else? Wasn't,
So the art fund, and we can review this more in depth next time because it was a referral to staff, but it supports art in every aspect.
aspect.
Yeah. So if it takes this money to procure it, or if it takes plastic to wrap around a utility box, or, whatever it takes to support art in Redondo, that's what the funds go towards.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
First of all, my apologies for being late.
Oh, and can I, just quickly for the record, at 5:08 PM, Commissioner Tanner came into the meeting and is now participating.
Thank you. I'm new here, so I'm just going to reflect on what I said last time. First of all, you said earlier that this is not only about Artesia project. This is specifically about the Artesia project, right? What we are discussing. Okay. Okay. So from that point of view, it has a potential of being an example for the rest of the city, for the other projects, right? I mean, Redondo Beach is much larger than Artesia. Maybe we can use the same model in the future for the waterfront or, other places and so on and so forth. So therefore, I think this is very important because as far as I know, I'm also relatively new in Redondo Beach or in South Bay, 7 or 8 years, but I'm not aware of any other specific public art project for a particular region or even for a purpose. Is that correct?
In terms of this scope and scale, where there's like a cohesive art project
Yes.
for a specific area,
Yes.
no.
Yes. So this is a perfect chance for us, for me, as a newcomer, to get involved because hopefully we can create a model out of this that the city can use in the future at other places. Now, again, what I was saying last time around was, Gary earlier said that we are going to be involved in the final level. We shouldn't be worried about it. What I much rather prefer is that we got involved in the first level, okay? We basically get involved more as the commission about the exact scope of such a consultant or even, the project itself, and give a lot of input to the staff as to what I would prefer a much narrower task and focus for the consultant is going to be. We can make suggestions as to how the consultant, or even maybe if in the future, if the city's revenues, allow that additional staff in the office, what their responsibilities would be and so on and so forth. So what I'm suggesting is, because otherwise the danger is this, otherwise I think it may be actually take much longer rather than shorter in terms of time, because the consultant is going to come and then he or she or they are trying to define their own roles. But if we give them some specific tasks as people who have some idea about the background of the public arts in the city and the city's needs, and keep them very focused, then I think it will be shorter. For example, if we just limit their involvement to finding, new artists given on the direction that we tell them, and, negotiate rather than, them going out and hold the community meetings and so on and so forth. That would be honestly my preference. We are gonna continue later on, I believe, in the agenda to the city budget. I have some comments which are related to both this project as well as to the our fund in general, but I will save them for that part.
Okay.
But in general, in summary, what I'm suggesting is, I'm neutral about the consultant business, but if we are going to hire a consultant, and obviously, the city council has approved it, let's just give them a much narrower focus, and we sit down and spend a little bit more time, either as the full commission or in a subcommittee, about what the focus is going to be, what we want out of Artesia, who is our audience. Is it the residents of North Redondo? Is it the entire Redondo Beach, or is it the people who pass through that corridor? What's the goal? Is it to make life a little bit more pleasant for the residents, or is it to enhance the reputation of Redondo Beach as a cultural city? Is it going to be educational element to it for a lot of the schools who happen to be right in that neighborhood? Things like that. We can discuss this, and I agree with you. I think this is our job, and then we can tell Gary and, find a consultant to basically implement this task and do it very fast. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Again, I'm of the, as Orban was saying, he sees this as a vision of other components about the city, about doing stuff. And to me, honestly, for the good of the city, it's like, well, if this is the way we're going to go with a consultant here and in the future consult, like, we don't need to be here anymore then. If that's the way, because think about this, you're shaking your head, but what I'm saying is you're implementing another step in the process of the political system and the way it works here. The mechanizations, instead of us coming up with new ways for the commission to execute, like you were saying, we haven't done anything. So instead of fixing the issues we have as commissioners and helping in order to help us come up and do the jobs that we've all kind of got on here to do, we're adding another step into the process. We're going to have a consultant. I'm not saying that this isn't a great idea. What I'm saying is that there's either a reason for me to be here or there's not. And as an art consultant, for me personally, if that's the way the city needs to go, I'm all for it. If this helps the city move faster, then we should just do away with the commission, because it benefits the city in the respect that the council has already decided to allocate funds, and that they're going to give you the help, and there'll be somebody in the city is what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to go with this. There's no reason for us, like, all we're going to do is, this guy's, if they're going to get a consultant, he's going to come up with this. City council's going to get this. The vote for everything, we're just along, like, you literally stated here, this is the idea. Is
Can I
that
just ask something real quick? Can you maybe discuss, more so it's understandable for our involvement, like you were saying.
it's
that,
right there. Volunteer to be a goodwill.
No.
Let me just say this. Other public art programs across the country have full-time staff that work on public art programs. If City Council tomorrow were to approve funding for a full-time staff member to do public art, would
That's
you
what you do, though.
would you feel the same way and be opposed to a staff member?
That's what you do.
I don't do it full
So
time.
let me, again, I want to really, Vice Chair, if it's okay, I just want to keep the order of this meeting so there isn't a back and forth and bickering. Again, I think Gary's made it really clear that this is staff work that this consultant is doing, work that city employees would do in other agencies. And Gary doesn't do this full-time. He has many responsibilities. And again, city manager made it very clear that yes, Gary could do this and we don't need a consultant, but everything would slow down quite a bit. And this project would not get completed in the timeline we're hoping will get completed. So there's a reason council saw value in this and a reason they set aside the funds for this. And so if the commission does want to partake more in the process, he made a clear list of ways you can do that. And I don't know if you want to discuss, I know Commissioner Tanner mentioned a few that I think we're pointing to task 2, more so than anything else, where there are key stakeholder involvement in the way the consultant develops their work plan. So maybe there is room for a subcommittee of the commission or a working group of the commission, and you do meet with them regularly, we can make that part of the process. So really the point of this item is for you to look at that RFQ and see what your role can be, just depending on the time you have available, the time you want to volunteer, in addition to the time you volunteer here.
And is that something that we could already start trying with the subcommittee? Like,
You could, if you want to meet before we even
I know
select a
it's in the
consultant.
future, but should
Yes.
we, is that something we should prepare for or try?
So, and that would be things under like task 1, where you help start identifying locations and start identifying themes that you might want to see happen along Artesia. So that work, you could get started if you want to start volunteering
Yeah, so
some
is
of
that
your
something you
time
would
and your
like to do?
effort.
So,
And that way, when you do meet with the consultant that's eventually selected, you've already kind of helped frame some of your thoughts and ideas on this project.
so to reframe just me, I guess, the scope of this right now is having this discussion, what we can do. And like Orban was saying, to jump in now to figure out this is happening, the consultant thing. It is our opportunity to discuss these things and see, like Orban was saying, those type of things, the scope of it, the education aspect, those kind of things, and insert ourselves now into this
Start doing
process.
that.
Is
And
that-
you just need to decide if that is something that you have time for and you want to volunteer. A subcommittee might be the best way to do it.
And is that something we can make a motion on?
I would hesitate to do so just because it wasn't part of the agenda title, but what we
But
can do is add it
put
to our
on
next.
To the next one, right?
Yeah, and that way we include it on the agenda and you can have some time between now and then to
Yeah.
think to yourselves if you want to dedicate and commit that time and effort. And that way you can discuss it as a group and see who wants to be on the subcommittee at the next meeting.
Does that sound, commissioners, does anybody think that? Any comments about that? I think that's at least that gives us a little bit more input. Juan?
Sure, I'm for everything. This was just an opportunity. A lot of times, like, I don't mean to come off. I'm just asking questions and willing to discuss these things and
Again, I think I look at this as a model. Therefore, it's probably a bigger responsibility for us than what it seems. We obviously do want to do a great job, appreciated by the council and the residents of Redondo Beach. So I see it as a major challenge.
A challenge for us or a challenge for
A challenge for us, a
Yeah.
challenge for us to do a very good job with the Artesia project.
Yeah,
And the methodology we are discussing, there are certain elements and there is the reality, I understand that. In some of the neighboring towns, these things are being handled by a single person, but they are smaller towns and they don't have a performing arts center to run. So therefore, we shouldn't really compare it. And I definitely appreciate the fact that it is a big task for one person to handle both the Performing Arts Center and the Public Art Project and the Historical Society, so on and so forth. Again, what I would love for us to think about between now and how we are going to approach this is let us elevate ourselves to a higher level and basically decide on the philosophy that we want to tell this new person, this new position. And I think we should also get together, maybe again, we discuss it next time, a subcommittee, and
Well, that's what I think we're saying, right?
clarify our audience, which to me is very important, because we are talking about the Artesia project right now, but who is it for,
Well, I think that this is then a great opportunity for us all to focus for our next meeting, and then, bring ideas to the, anything extra that we have to have in order for us to maybe establish a subcommittee by then.
And we should also, if I may, sorry to interrupt you, we should also set up a timeline for ourselves. Not only for basically saying that we finished this project. The Artesia project is 50% complete and 100% complete.
Well, it's,
Yeah, I think that
I
in
was
the
like, it's-
RFQ, the timeline isn't set there because that needs input from you.
There is
Right? That says to be
September
completed, right?
2025, there is
Yeah.
a timeline there,
Right.
yeah.
hence when they put the X, all that. Okay, can we,
All in favor?
well,
Wait, hold on, does anybody want to
Friday.
make, so what is the motion here tonight that you would like to make? Bring this item back one more time?
yes.
And at that time, if everyone can be prepared to provide a timeline, make some final edits to this RFQ, we really want to launch it so that Gary can
And I think
get
that,
it
I
out
think it's
there.
actually more so, so we can come back to possibly establish a subcommittee.
But I
That's-
think, Gary, do you need a timeline? You need a timeline still for the RFQ.
Well, I think, you want to, so when you're hiring a consultant, I think you need to tell them, we're talking about 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, because they're busy and they'll have other projects, so someone might compete for a consultant contract that's 2 years, but they wouldn't compete for something that's 5 years because they think they're going to be moving, to another city in 3 years from now. So it's,
So we may need to, it sounds like we may need to bring this item back just one more time, but if everybody could really look into it and think about the role that you want this subcommittee to have, because that will also impact the timeline if you're doing some of this legwork ahead of time, right? And then come back with the time period you want to provide the consultant to complete the work you want them to complete for the city in tandem with the subcommittee and the public outreach that you want outlined in the RFQ. So if you can start putting your thoughts into that and making those edits or recommendations so that next time we come back, we can spend some time making those final edits, and Gary can launch it out there.
But my question is, when we are thinking about all this, say 10 art projects, just for talking's sake, 10 art projects in Artesia, then we are thinking about artists there, we are thinking about actual installation of that artwork. And that timeline will also depend on not only the funds, but it will also depend on the city council approving it. And, so it cannot be like just 2 years, it probably will be more.
When I mentioned the term timeline, I was thinking about a timeline for ourselves.
For the subcommittee and commission.
Meaning that, as the Public Art Commission, when do we want to be done with this project? Okay? And then everything else, then we find the right consultant for that timeline. Then we find the right projects for that timeline. If something is, if we set ourselves, let's say, the end of 2026, and, we come up with something which will take much longer, then we eliminate it.
Or we can amend the contract. We can extend it. It's up to you.
There must
Just
be
saying.
discipline, okay?
Yeah.
And our timeline is probably more independent of the supply, meaning that who the consultants are going to be, what kind of artwork. I think it should be from the demand point of view. By what time do we want to give something sustainable to the people of Redondo Beach? So, for example, there are important timelines coming up. There are the Olympics in 2028. Let's think much more broadly, externally, okay? There is the World Cup coming up. There are art fairs, major art fairs happening in LA County now, and maybe a bunch of other things that I cannot think of. When do our terms expire on this commission? Because if we want to leave a legacy, it should be, all these things that we need to put, and then we go backwards from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was referring as my timeline.
To jump on the back of that, I don't want to feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but the city manager and the council have approved this consultant, and it's been allocated money-wise, right? So in that respect already, there's been an allocation of decision-making as well in the fact that we're just here to do this stuff now. Like this, not even, and I'm just trying to clarify my role after the consultant as far as the Artesia corridors. We've already added a step. Whether you agree with it or not, is that there's going to be an art consultant that'll bring up projects and everything, and then we kind of is that the idea that we get to vote on that?
Again, just going back to the previous comments, if it were staff or this consultant, it would still be presented to you in the same manner. So even
Okay.
if we had a second Gary and this is their only job, they would still bring it back to you. There isn't a second step. It's somebody coming in to assist with the process and to expedite it.
Well, no, this is different because this person gets to come up with an idea, select artists.
No.
No.
They help you come up with the idea. They're a facilitator. That's all. They help you do your work faster.
So,
Commissioner Melendez, this is what I'm gathering. There are two ways to look at it. One is the planning, which we do, and the execution, which we tell this person to execute on what we want him to do.
this is
And
what
then it comes back to us.
I get what you're saying, but it says, this is what I'm reading. Visioning and engagement, commissioners could do the following. Could help the consultant identify key stakeholders, but I'm under the impression that the council members and the city manager have an idea of what they already want, right? We've been to the council meetings.
So if you,
But this is, I'm reading what's here. The commissioners could do the following, be a goodwill ambassador.
Can you explain a little bit maybe?
yeah, so the intent
Yeah.
of that entire report, so if you read it in its entirety, was to open a discussion between all of you,
Correct.
which Commissioner Tanner pointed to, was between all of you decide exactly how involved you want to be on the front end of this work. So yes, you could, but you don't have to. So it was essentially supposed to be the catalyst to a conversation between all of you as commissioners to decide exactly when and where you want to be involved in what format.
Well, that's
So
why
kind of
what I'm
it's
getting
phrased
at.
that way.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that the movement is already in motion, and that we're just kind of seeing where we want to jump in at this point, correct? That's what this discussion is that this is moving forward, and where do we want to be involved? Am I missing something?
Yes, but we have, in a sense, unlimited power of being involved.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that basically makes it a little bit different.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Your power's not taken away.
That's what this discussion, I'm trying to figure
if you wanna
out
call it power. Yeah.
the manner in which the execution of this consulting thing is. And I'm hoping I'm bringing up, if anything, it looks like everybody's kind of on board where they're at. And maybe I'm the weirdo, but at least you all know what's going on.
No, that's what this is for. It's
Well, that's
for
what I'm
everybody to
saying.
discuss. I mean,
This is-
everybody's,
it is,
to clarify, we all, that just makes us stronger when each of us has questions. And so, that's what we need to do, right? As a commission, is if there's a discrepancy or somebody's just misunderstanding or anything, just to discuss, so that way.
So what are we agreeing on as far as to get
What
this?
can we go back and?
Yes, so you have a few options before you. You can continue this conversation tonight and just line by line, if you guys want to chat about all these sections that you can partake in, you can do that tonight, but it sounds like there might be some more time needed for you guys to go back and individually go through those tasks and see exactly what you might want to take on for whoever is on the subcommittee. You want to think about a timeline for yourselves, if I understood Commissioner Tanner correctly, and you want to kind of set that timeline and work back from there. So it sounds like you might actually want to bring this item back one more time at the next meeting and really delve into those details to define your roles at the beginning and timeline. Is that correct?
Does that sound?
It is, but is it okay if we individually contact the staff
Please do.
in writing with our individual comments, and then the staff can get back to the entire commission? So we save some time about, all these things, and we just move into voting on those.
We certainly can. So we can do that, and we would just we'll prompt that next week because it's the last day of the week. So we'll probably send that email out to the group next week and just probably submit the same parameters that we have in the staff report and ask you, hey, if you want to look through these, look at the RFQ, see what this means, and just let us know your thoughts on each of these tasks and where you think the commissioner subcommittee can play a role, as well as a timeline if you have thoughts on that.
Can the subcommittee, I assume there will be a subcommittee which will
Yeah,
be dealing
I'm
with this.
assuming
We
so,
haven't
too.
voted on that yet, though, right? But
No,
this
because
is,
because we need this time. Obviously,
crazy.
people need to look over it.
Can the subcommittee or the committee can have outside members other than the members on the commission?
What we could
The
do,
bylaws say no to that.
You
But
would
if
say
there's
no?
another option, go ahead.
what did you say?
The bylaws say that committees of the commission can only be made of commissioners, but maybe there's a task force. Or
Exactly.
Maybe there are other options.
So there are other options that we've done with certain projects like the Seaside Lagoon design, where there is a working committee and includes a couple of members.
Isn't that like on the artist, task 3, sorry, where it recommend members for community panel?
Well, that's a little bit different from what he's talking
No,
about.
but is that something that where you could do something
right,
like that
yeah,
for
it is,
that?
right, that's it, yeah.
So we can do that as well. We can do an Artesia art project task force, and it could include some members of the public and then some members of the commission, and you can come together and help create that framework within which the consultant
Again,
operates.
my intention is not to add another layer into this process, but, our commission is only 7 people. And I know of, certain residents who are very experienced in the global art scene and have lived in other cities.
Very, well, and also very passionate in our community. We have a lot of, I think,
Past
community members that are very
commissioners.
passionate and want to see
Yeah, I
it.
know, but maybe we need some fresh blood, There are some people in the hiding that I'm aware of who are in the art world that they would volunteer. And I think again, last word, the subcommittee's main job is going to be to define the scope of the consultant's work.
Ultimately, though, like if you're on a subcommittee, though, it doesn't matter where you get that information from. Like if you have a buddy that's going to help you out on it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that kind of thing doesn't,
So if
but to
you
put
as
it
a
out there
subcommittee member
broadly,
can,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
My only other thing is going again with the timeline thing, like what are we up against? I guess that's just something else to add in there later is like, what are we up against on that corridor on the council's ideas of timelines?
I don't think they defined a timeline, Gary, right? So they were really relying on,
That's what you said earlier, that you would maybe.
be part of the
work on
art.
Having that for the next meeting, maybe.
yes,
The
if you
timeline,
guys
so
want
they-
to provide some guidance on the
Are the
timeline.
elections?
Well, the other thing is the Galleria, the Galleria thing and stuff like that is my only, and allocation of funds and stuff.
That's a very good point.
So why don't we move this forward?
I think, if I remember correctly, the RFQ is the period from when a consultant would be hired through when all of the locations and the artists and the basic design plan would be finished. The actual implementation or installation, as Commissioner Sharma mentioned, could take multiple years. But I think we would like, or you tell me if this sounds right, to be able to go to City Council, hopefully in less than 2 years, and say, this is the plan. We've identified these artists. We get their initial submissions for what they want to do. We identify the locations, whether the plan also includes a grant program to do murals on private property or anything else, but the scope of what the plan would be, and then say, and we anticipate we should be able to finish all of these installations and murals or whatever within 5 years. But I think we need to go to council and say, we can get this far in 1 year or 2 years.
So the next time we meet, we're going to define, the idea would be to solidify what our expectations of this consultant is, define a timeline of what we would like to accomplish in our brains and fantasy, and hopefully execute for this in that, right? Like that's, so we're chipping away at the idea of this. The next meeting we should have is defining their role.
Yes.
Okay, and then a timeline.
And a timeline.
Yes.
That's what we chiseled out today.
Let's say refining their role, because you've got clay on the table.
Yeah, no. We're gonna, cross out something, add some things, and then the next one, write it in stone.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Once we refine the RFQ to a place where everyone's happy.
yeah. Makes sense.
A bit of homework for all of you between now and then.
Yeah.
But it's important. It's important work. So Vice Chair Christian Kelly,
Yes.
do you want to take comments from the public?
Yes.
Yes, we need an art commission. Do not ever say we don't need an art commission, because Task Force 2008, we finally started 2009. I was on it for 10 years. Absolutely, positively, we need an art commission. And what the council's doing now, just briefly, is trying to combine the commissions together. That's whatever, nonsense, but that's for another time. Okay, just some clarification. Well, first of all, I want to make a comment. At first I made a big emotional point up here about saying I was insulted as being a former art commissioner that they would have an advisor. No, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. And because, I'm sorry, but 2 commissioners haven't been here for 3 meetings. You guys need help. You need a little extra help. You guys need help. Everybody's busy, And I think if people miss 3 meetings, maybe, and because their commissions are up, this is just personal, I'm sorry, maybe they need to move on and new people need to be in here, because we need commitment. And I know people have personal things happening, but this isn't right. I missed 1 meeting in 10 years, and it's because my ex-husband died. Anyway, and I had pneumonia. So anyway, just a little clarification. The reason I don't think it has anything to do with Mr. Margolis, that this happened as far as needing you correct me if I'm wrong, need a consultant, is because the former mayor saw the money that we were accumulating, and he said, wow, why is this happening? And a couple of council people thought the same thing. And then Mr. Obaji in District 4 said, well, I want to go forward with art on Artesia, which is a fantastic idea. But they saw that money, and I think that they were saying, oh, these people aren't working fast enough. We need to expedite. I think that's where that came from. So you don't need to feel bad. If you do, you shouldn't. Okay, I think the way it should go, just in my opinion, I think it's great if you guys have a task force, because I would definitely want to be on the task force. I would die to be on the task force. And maybe Mr. Obaji should be part of that too, Councilman Obaji, because it's his district. So, at some point, just to get a vision. And the other thing that needs to be done is everybody needs to walk that street up and down. Keep just going up and down that street, because you'll see the limitations. There's many limitations. The sidewalks are narrow. People go through going really fast. It is a corridor. Sorry, it's not a district yet, not yet. It's from point A to point B. When I'm going down that street, I'm just like, no, I don't know what's going on. The only thing that might be seen is maybe the artwork is going to be on the median. That will be noticed, possibly more. And also, city council said to start with 400,000, they want to go to $1 million. They want to spend $1 million. It's like, come on, where's the plan? There needs to be a plan. And I asked Councilman Abaji at one of the meetings, and I said, you really need to go forward now and come up with a vision. Not that he has to be the only one, but he's the one that proposed it. How are we justifying 400,000? Anyway, can I talk for another minute?
There can be a motion to extend the time by 30
Make a
seconds.
motion to extend.
30 seconds.
Can you get a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I can't see, where's my thing? I have so many notes here. I was going to hand them out, but now I don't want to bore you with it. Anyway, yes, a vision needs to happen, and possibly the best thing that might happen to this, because of the length of the street, is a plaza or a district might be allowed, and maybe that could be near where the high tension wires are, because it's an open area, and there's sculpture, whatever. But maybe there's an area where everybody can meet. Maybe there's shops that are put in there for a reason for people to hang out, coffee shops and art galleries. And it shouldn't be called Artesia unless there's galleries on that street. There's no galleries on that street, and there's no galleries in Redondo Beach, not one. So let's put galleries on the street. Let's think about it.
Thanks, Georgette. All right.
Would you like to see if there's comments online?
Yes, please. Thanks.
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Thank you. So can we make that can you do that? Like, help me with that?
Does somebody want to craft the motion for tonight?
So we move to further discuss on the next meeting, right?
You can make a motion to return the item
Return the item, sorry.
for discussion at the next meeting, and to include with that item the ability to form a subcommittee
Okay.
for this effort. And we can add that as part of the agenda, so you can discuss that as well.
Okay. Should I repeat that again?
I think along with the subcommittee, we need to add the task force too. I mean, if that goes in the agenda or,
Allow it.
Do a subcommittee first before, let's get,
no, I think we should do it together.
I'm
not
all
wait
for the, let's,
Let's
why
add
wait
it together.
another,
Why wait? Yeah,
put it in
exactly.
yeah,
Just put it
And
in
do a
there,
task
so we don't
force
need to
already?
get it approved every time.
I agree, like, just move forward as fast as we can.
Make a subcommittee and.
I was just thinking if we have a subcommittee, then we can group up, discuss a little bit before
And then wait
going
another 2
into-
months.
No,
Well, but that's the discussion that you'll have at the next
Yeah,
meeting.
exactly. That we
will
Whether you
have
want a
anyway.
subcommittee, a task force, or both,
Okay,
right? I mean, don't have that
Yes.
discussion
And/or.
now.
yeah,
'cause-
no, but
Subcommittee and/or task force.
they're
Yes, we'll
saying
do
to
that.
add that into the next meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
and we'll
okay,
make
gotcha.
it part of the agenda title so that we make it clear to the public what it is we're discussing. We can add that wording in there,
okay.
yes.
It's
So
better to have it and not
On the
need it
thing,
than need it and
then,
not have
okay.
it.
Okay, so we make,
can someone make a motion to do that?
okay.
I'm not good
I make a motion to
To return the item?
return the item
What do
for,
we say, to finalize the RFP?
finalize the RP.
Yes.
And then have a discussion and possible action related to the
Sub-
creation of a
Subcommittee
subcommittee
and
and/or
task
task
force.
force.
One more time.
Can we get a second on that?
Can we
I
get-
second everything
okay,
that was just said.
Okay, good. Motion carries.
everybody.
Can you take a
All in
vote?
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
No? Motion carries. Yay.
So Gary's going to excuse
Yeah,
himself.
you know,
He has some
Commissioners, there's an
events.
art exhibit going on at the Performing Arts Center. It's the first time the gallery has been used, I think, in more than 10 years. So, try to make it up there. It's the original watercolors of Cesar Hernandez, who was the art teacher at Union High School for more than 40 years. It's a really nice exhibit. It's from the collection of Steve Collin, who's the chair of the Historical Commission. This is a program of the Historic Commission. And then, of course, I'm sure the Commissioner, Christian Kelly, will talk about the event at the museum and Heritage Court tomorrow. So,
And from what I understand, all those people used to go to the beach a lot, right?
yeah, they did. So thank
Thank you,
you.
Gary.
Thank you.
So it's the opening tonight?
Thank you.
The opening is tonight, yep.
What time?
Are we invited?
You're invited.
Everybody's
Thank
invited.
you.
Formally.
It opened at 5.
Formally.
5 to 9 tonight.
5 to 9, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to J2. Discussion and possible action on possible art competitions or events for high school students in Redondo Beach.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember this, everyone?
So I can give a quick introduction to this item again. At the March 27th meeting, the last meeting we had, we got a referral to staff to come back with an item immediately to allow for the commission to discuss maybe creating an art competition of sorts or some other way to engage high school seniors in art activities. And there was no real parameters at the time. You just wanted an opportunity to discuss it and share ideas. So that's why this item is on the agenda. And with that, I'll just hand it over back to the vice chair.
I had an idea too that I would like to maybe direct staff then to for the next, to explore $1,000 scholarship. That way, and it be like a senior thing where, maybe it could be media of the students, like if it's photography, if it's painting, if it's ceramics, if it's performance art, but maybe something, influential with, the beach or, have something be related, of course, for Redondo specifically.
So is this like an annual competition you would hold and
Yeah.
provide a
I think it'd
$1,000
be nice for
scholarship?
and it to go into like a scholarship. I think it'd be nice to, that's my thought.
Okay, does the vice chair, I just want to keep decorum, so
Yes.
if you want to choose who
Yes.
speaks. So there's
Who would like to
Connor.
speak
I was
next?
going to say that that sounds great to me. There are some examples which have been similar things, competitions going on for years. Maybe we can, since it's approaching the end of the school year, nobody's going to be in a hurry. We can maybe launch something like that in the fall or maybe even in the spring. So we have some time. What I would suggest is each of us look into some of these existing competitions. The one that I know and I've been following for years, and I think I mentioned it last time, is by the Congressman Ted Lieu. Again, it's attached to a scholarship. I think actually the grand prize is like $5,000. And it can be in several categories, painting, sculpture, photography, even maybe performing arts, since we have a performing arts center.
Yeah, that's
And I
good.
think we should really allocate, this is, by the way, public art. We should look into ways of using the funds in our fund for that scholarship money. And I think it would be great. The last thing I want to say is it should be open to all residents of Redondo Beach, not only to those who attend school in Redondo Beach, because there are several students in Redondo Beach who attend school outside of Redondo Beach. Miracosta being the biggest example. There are about 200.
And I think that, go ahead,
Yes.
so sorry.
No, there are about
Please.
200, 250 kids from Redondo Beach who attend school in Miracosta and some elsewhere. Some go to private schools and things like that. So it should be open to all the residents of Redondo Beach, regardless of the
Student
school.
residents.
Student, yeah.
Students, I'm sorry.
Yes,
And
I
that
was
makes
gonna
sense.
say.
It's just clarifying that it's student
Yeah,
residents.
that was my question.
My only,
Councilman Menendez.
my twist on this would be whatever the contest is, whether or not, this is just an idea I was thinking is whatever the actual idea is that we kind of get more bang for our buck and we get these kids to figure out, however, some art way that incorporates them coming up with an idea or some execution of an art idea that incorporates the idea of having more student or young people engagement. So whatever the focus and purpose is of the artwork that we have them compete for, is that the idea being how can we get more engagement from their community, whatever that is, like that's just the idea I have. Like if we're putting something out there for money, then
Councilman Menendez, I think you're getting feedback from your speaker, sorry. Maybe, yeah. There you go, sorry.
the idea being that whatever the contest is that it spikes engagement from their community. So however that's measured, that we get some kind of project back that incorporates the idea of the young community being more engaged. That's all.
No, good point.
Councilman Sharp?
Yeah, I like that idea. It's great. It's also like on the same lines as they have the reflections contest that they have it for the school district. And I've been part of the judge for elementary schools. And they incorporate the different fields of art in it. And kids, like their works are so beautiful. It's very encouraging for the kids who actually do a lot of it. So that's a great idea, having a scholarship fund dedicated to the students of Redondo Beach residents. Also, beyond the scope, I had talked about some time ago having a student being part of the commission. And I think a student who is in the field of art being part of the commission will bring a different perspective also. So maybe at some point of time, now that this isn't recording, maybe at some point of time, the council or whoever plans this can include a student, Redondo student, as being part of the commission, an art student.
You could also include that in the contest of having like different places. Like one first place could be the scholarship, second place could be a place on the council, and third place could be a skateboard. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like it could be in there too, as far as it just being a separate thing.
Yeah.
That could be one of the wins.
We can actually do that.
And the Performing Arts Center has some space where we could feature student art pieces. There's so many ways we can take this. We can feature it around City Hall. We can do even a little exhibit out here before a council meeting. There's many places we can take this if really the goal is to engage the student community, right? And we can really.
My idea is for them to figure that out for us. That's the goal. Like no offense to us, but
You were speaking about prizes.
I'm talking about, whatever the contest is, the idea behind it is whoever wins is that their idea promotes the engagement of their community in like a measure to like we're sitting up here thinking like older people how to getting them. Like if we're paying for it, then let's go get the best idea, like get more bang for our buck from them. Like let's win with a kid's idea. Like, all right, how are we going to get you a crowd? We're going to pay you for it.
Gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just thinking years ago, the Redondo Beach Chamber used to have a annual art contest for, I don't think it was just for seniors, it was for anybody in Redondo Beach Union High School, and they had it at the pier at one of the areas, which is now a restaurant. They did that every spring, and they gave rather nice, large cash prizes, and I was a judge each year for that.
You have a skate park down there now too.
Pardon?
Skate park, we have actual area for.
No, this was actually.
No, I know. I'm saying that the environment's changed enough where we can invite that same idea.
Yeah, so, no, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying to do that at the pier things. I'm just saying that this piggybacks on, I'm agreeing with what everybody's saying, because it was something that happened in the past. It was very successful. And then it just kind of ended for whatever reason. And I just want to say I'm in agreement to having a competition again.
Great.
Are there any public comments?
The city also has like these beach life festivals or like the Spring Fest, which is going on. Can they incorporate something like that?
So Beach Life, so both of those events are private events. One is
private
the NRBBA and the other is by Beach Life.
Yeah, I would also, that's a good idea, but I would also favor the fact that it's owned by our commission because it will be a public
Thing, right?
Everybody will say, oh, we had a public art commission. Because I think because of the students, the announcements go almost into every household in Redondo Beach. So that's a very good exposure for us.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Can I open this to public comment now? Is there any public?
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Anybody like to? Okay, any comments? Okay. Okay, then can we make a,
Can make a motion to direct staff to explore setting up an annual art competition competition process that we would probably launch either in the fall of 2024 or spring of 2025, and also see exactly how it would be funded, if it can come from the art fund, which it sounds like it could, but just to clarify and kind of set up that process so we understand the parameters. And once we have time to do that and collect all that, come back to you with a draft of the competition process.
And let's set up a deadline for that. Let's say come up for the draft by September,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's a great idea,
okay?
yeah.
Good.
So can we make a motion?
If somebody, I don't mind making the motions, but if somebody could repeat them so that somebody on
So
the
make a, we
commission.
make a motion, I would say we make a motion to receive,
Direct staff
to direct staff.
to explore.
To explore the possibility of a scholarship and
Art competition.
art competition with a deadline for, set for September
For the draft.
for the draft.
Okay, that's the motion.
That's a
I
motion?
second.
Okay.
Okay, so Vice Chair Christian
Motion-
Kelly
Vice
made the
Chair
motion.
Christian Kelly, and then.
I second.
also- Yeah,
Second by Commissioner Tanner.
Okay.
and then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Excellent.
Awesome. All right. J3, receive and file an update on efforts to date of the LGBTQIA+ Permanent Art Installation Subcommittee.
And for that item, Vice Chair Christian Kelly and Commissioner Sharma, you are both on the subcommittee. So I know we wanted to take some steps forward in this effort. It's just an opportunity for you to share with the group what you've attempted. I know we had our meeting where we discussed certain items, so I just wanted to open the floor for you to share what you've been able to accomplish so far and what you would like to do.
So we have tried to reach out. We look forward to hearing from the LGBTQIA+ Center and get some input, but I know time gets the best of us, so we are still looking forward to hearing back.
So we actually physically went there, but apparently they were closed and they don't open till like 7 o'clock.
7 PM.
7 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
those timings didn't work for us at
Yeah.
that time. And
emails and then phone messages, but again, it's, time gets the best of us, so we look forward to hopefully hearing, and then we can get, I think, better input from the center to move forward, because we'd rather get a little bit more information with them to
To move forward with the
Yeah, we wanted
this.
to reach out to them first and get their input before we go to the other place that I had mentioned about.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
yeah.
And just tied with that, I did want to include in the packet for the commission's consideration and just review, we had discussed grant opportunities that we can pursue, and I think there's a really good one that we might be eligible for, but it depends on our partnership with a nonprofit. So if we can establish that connection with the LGBTQ Center of the South Bay and they want to partner with us, there is a National Endowment of the Arts Creative Placemaking Grants Program that's available, with grants ranging from $25,000 to $150,000.
That's awesome.
The grants application, we would need to start that type of artwork by July of next year. And I believe the deadline for grant submittal is, yes, August 1st, 2024. So that deadline's coming up. So hopefully we can get in touch with the center soon. If we do, then we can ask them if they want to partner with us on a grant application for this particular art piece. And if so, we can go for this scope.
A lot of times with grants, there's parameters involved. Like, do we have to like have a biplane or anything crazy with the grant to win it? Like,
Biplane?
just I'm off the top of my head. Like, does it have to have a whale in it or anything? Like,
No. So one of the key parameters is a partnership with a nonprofit.
any
Depending on the theme you want to engage
That's what I'm
in.
saying.
And the theme is, and I highlighted it in the report. Let me just read it for you real quick. It would, support projects that integrate arts, culture, and design activities into efforts that strengthen communities over the long term. And I thought that that was pretty fitting for what
pretty
we're
broad.
trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
so
not-
that's the general theme of this particular grant opportunity. And then in order to ensure that that happens, they want the government agency to partner with a local nonprofit in pursuing this art piece. So just maybe something we can chase if we are able to formalize a partnership with the LGBTQ Center.
the place you guys talk to, are they a nonprofit?
Yeah,
They are not.
yeah.
So that
That would be,
Yeah, that was.
fills
Yeah,
that.
hopefully we're gonna
Okay,
be,
so that's, we're winning a grant.
Yeah, so we're trying to get a hold of them, from what I understand. They even went there, but maybe
Yeah.
we meet again with the subcommittee this coming week to maybe strategize ways we can get a hold of them and try
I'm
to,
gonna maybe try next
Yeah,
week.
we
I'm gonna stay
called-
longer after work
We
and then
called,
I'll
left a
stay.
voicemail,
Yeah.
and yeah, we haven't heard.
And it's, again, it's,
Maybe we
time
can-
gets the best of us and, I just, we look forward to hearing from,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll do another meet as part of the subcommittee.
Yeah.
And we will talk about it and we'll maybe send emails and talk to the person.
And it's just Ashish and I, so if any other commissioners would like to join, we can have a total of 3. So feel free to come on board and join our subcommittee with this. No problem. Is there any e-comments?
There were no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Thank you.
public comments?
No public comment? Yeah, thank you.
I remember it was about, I think, a year ago that I spoke to 2 gentlemen when this was first proposed, and they were all excited, and I said, I want to help, and I wanted to help that situation. My son is gay, whatever. It was just, I was excited about it, and I thought it was wonderful. But have you heard from them at all with any kind of proposal? Because that's a shame. That's too bad. Because usually the procedure, of course, the way it used to be is people would present, they'd go, here's our plan, and they'd have a board, and they'd have, some visuals.
Yeah,
So
I
I hope
think
they-
last year, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm supposed to be engaging with you, so I
Yes.
apologize. Last year, it was Jonathan Svetko, and I forget the other gentleman's name.
His husband.
And they were very excited because the council had voted to raise the progress flag. And as part of that motion, they did want to explore permanent art installations. And so I think that's why they engaged with the commission at the time, but I think it's just to keep the momentum going on that effort. We could reach out to Jonathan again. We know how to reach him. Again, I'm having a hard time recalling the other gentleman's name, but we can see if perhaps they have ties to other nonprofits in our
It's
community.
his husband, so,
It is.
yeah, he'll just tell him.
Yeah, they gave us a hard time because we didn't keep it. I remember they were on our cases about it and then it was like, yo, wait,
They're excited.
yeah, why don't you come back and help us out there, chief?
They do it.
So what
Thank you,
we
Georgette.
can do as part of our next meeting with the subcommittee is I can bring that contact information to you both. And if there's a third person that wants to join the subcommittee, we can do some outreach to those individuals as well and see if they're interested in helping us connect with either the LGBTQ Center of the South Bay, or perhaps they have another nonprofit in mind that we can partner with. So that can be next steps.
Okay, so then we should make a motion
To receive and file.
to receive and file.
Did you make that motion?
Make a motion to receive and file.
We need a second.
And I
I'll
need a
second
second.
it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. J4, discuss and provide input on the city's FY 2024 to 2025 budget.
Yes. So if I may?
Thank you.
So every year, the city manager or the finance director, they make the rounds to every commission so that they can collect your thoughts and ideas on the upcoming budget ahead of the budget actually being processed and put together. And it's a Friday afternoon and evening, so it's a little difficult for them to be here. So in their stand, I will sit here and it's just a listening session. We listen to what it is that you may want to have the council consider as part of the budget process. And then at the end of this conversation, if there are specific items you want the council to consider, You can direct staff to craft a letter on your behalf with the chair signing it, or you can form some sort of subcommittee or direct one of your commissioners to craft that letter on your behalf, send it to the chair for signature. But now I just open the floor to you, Vice Chair Christian Kelly, if you want to start collecting comments from commissioners in an orderly manner.
Anybody? Do you want to start with? Do you have a-
That may make it easier if you want to start.
Yeah, I
from
know,
here.
I think we should start, with you maybe. Diane,
I'm okay.
you're okay? Commissioner,
So this is an opportunity for us. We're discussing the opportunity for us to put something on the budget.
So, so council considers, usually in the form of a letter from the commissions. All the
That's
commissions
what I'm
craft
trying
a
to- yeah,
letter,
so it's
yeah.
just-
And they go through those letters to see if there's specific projects you've been wanting to undertake or certain areas of focus that you want the council to pay attention to. I know one project that's been out there is creating some sort of online GPS portal where residents and visitors can see exactly where in the city there's art that they can visit.
That was
So
the
it's
maps, remember we?
interactive. So maybe that's a project you want them to consider, but just things like that. If there's been outstanding items that you want them to fund and support,
I mean,
we
they-
would put
but-
that in a letter.
Didn't council already, they allocated all our cash for like the next 2 years.
We have no money left.
No, it's already spent. Like they were talking about the money we might be getting in the next 2 years.
So that's the John Parsons Fund, but let's say you really wanted this online GPS
I think
portal.
that's, yeah.
What we can do is we can craft the letter, we can bring it to council. Maybe it falls under IT. And maybe they find ways to fund it through partnerships with other departments or, it's just a way of getting in front of them and planting that
Yeah.
seed. And if they wish to fund it, they can.
And going back to that, remember that was that homework I gave everybody, their district map?
And we all have
That I
maps
think
on our
that
walls.
that's something that we could all do in the next, few months and just work on that and just when you're about and kind of fill it. And then maybe I thought as a whole, that would be such a great thing to have is a website for Redondo Beach public art. I think it's like a necessary thing for the city to have. I think it's such great.
I guess one of my things would be then, if this is an opportunity to go talking about budget information, then I would recommend figuring out a
Permanent.
city administrative
Manager.
position to do this, that we're consulting for.
A permanent manager just for the
Yeah,
commission.
like if we're going to keep,
We'll have.
if the
projects.
idea is to keep buying consultants for every project in the city, then shouldn't we just bite the bullet and,
Stealing my job.
no, well, that's what I'm saying. That's my point, is that was exactly my
Gonna quit the
point.
commission and join, become a consultant.
No, that's exactly my point. So,
Okay.
I have two places where I would like,
If I may,
one for the John,
Oh, wait, let's start.
sorry.
No, commission. Well, let's go down the way, because that would make, yeah.
Sorry. So the budget process, as far as I remember from previous years, is not only just quantitative, there are some qualitative aspects to it as well, right? It's
Yes.
in a sense like what the council will be focusing on over the next, 12 months. So one of the things that I would like to propose is to basically revisit the mission of our commission. We are right now limited to public art, but I think in today's day and age, you cannot really separate art, public art, from the rest of the cultural activities or artistic activities going on in a city. For example, public art is considered just the murals, the statues, which is, basically being seen by everybody else, but we don't really have much of a jurisdiction or say about, let's say, the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center, or, whoever is want to do an art festival or a music festival on the beach. So what I would love to suggest is for the council, for us to discuss among ourselves first, and look at some of the neighboring cities. So for example, again, my own experience in Manhattan Beach, it's Cultural Arts Commission. And, they do exhibitions, they have education programs, they have other things. It's not only about, murals and that kind of stuff. So if we, for example, strengthened our commission in such a way, then it may open a way to add additional staff. Because I mean, he's not there, but I agree with him. That's too much for one person. By the way, I would also suggest, I think this is the right time to suggest it as well, that he should look into internships. Summer internships, winter for high school students. These are very popular. It looks great on your resume when you do a college application. And there are fantastic people in Redondo Beach who can help our staff out with, for example, doing the research on the LGBTQ project, or even doing the research on this. I mean, summer is coming up. It can be.
So these are great suggestions, and I'm very excited about them. What we do have coming up in July, as of right now, is the strategic planning session
Okay.
of the city council, and that's exactly where these suggestions would fall.
Okay.
Is directives to staff over the next 6 to 12 months of projects to bring forth to the council for reconsideration, and both those items would fall in the strategic plan. So not necessarily the budget, because there's no monies going there.
Okay.
It's just kind of shaping the workload for staff over the
Let me
next.
then concentrate on the money part. Did you have a chance to find out about who is controlling, or checking or auditing the John Parsons Fund? And what department within the city is responsible for
It's
making sure
the finance department.
the finance department? Have they vouched to the fact that they have been collecting all those 1% from every single project, over $250,000 over the last 10 years?
So that's one of our discussion items for the next agenda. But what I can say from my knowledge thus far is that when contractors come in to pull permits, as part of getting that permit, they need to pay those fees. And so
Okay.
there's a system in place that essentially guarantees that anybody who pulls a permit submits the fees needed.
I have asked from the staff for the ordinance regarding the fund. It's ordinance number 3127-14 from 2014. And it's in great detail. I don't know whether our fellow commissioners have access to this.
That should be
It's
like
online.
a public thing, yeah.
It's online, but I strongly then urge everybody to read this in greater detail. And in my humble opinion, the amount of money which is in the fund does not really reflect the reality of the ongoing commercial and building
Doesn't
activity in
coincide.
Redondo Beach. I mean, even just one corporation out there on the way to Costco has spent more money than what,
So just to say this is, in your professional experience and wisdom, all you're saying is that it deserves some looking into.
Well, I mean, the thing is this, let me finish if I may. Let me finish. The developers or whoever is spending more than $250,000 is given a choice. They can install public art or they can go. But even if they have installed those public art pieces, they are not visible. Okay? So what I would, as part of the budget, let me also ask you if you know, I'm not asking them, is the fund part of the budget? It is. So there's a separate item which is like this fund.
This is the fund.
It should be lit. I see what you're saying.
I
yeah.
would,
There'd be a list.
I would suggest in the budget process, then, and we can ask this if that's everybody okay, we can work on this letter. It needs to be much more transparent. And it's only a 10-year-old fund, if I'm not mistaken, because the ordinance is from 2014. It needs to be checked, going backwards.
Well, it lends itself to the idea of this GPS thing where all the artwork's going to be noticeable around the neighborhood too. So we're going to need that information so we can put it on this super map of GPS artwork around the city. So all this kind of works together.
Yeah.
Okay. We can make that part of the letter if you want to request an audit. I'm not quite sure how that would be received. I don't think I've seen that part of a budget request letter, but we'll see. We'll include it if that's one item the commission wants on there.
Okay,
Oops.
I got lost. Okay.
Can I?
We have Commissioner
So-
Sharma.
Yeah, Commissioner Sharma, sorry.
So I had 2 points. One was for the John Parson Fund, the budgeting for that. We need to include the utility boxes budget. It's not there, and it is our ongoing process, which something,
Yeah, they're an ongoing process, so it's in the system, they know about it. And
no,
it's,
but I think there should be a budgeted amount for it.
So do you mean
It should be
like-
visible.
So do you mean like council specifically set aside X amount of dollars?
just for that.
Just for that?
for that,
So
yeah.
even if the program moves forward or doesn't move forward, there's money set
There
aside
is
specifically
money
for
set
that?
aside for at least 5 utility boxes in the 5 districts per year, at least, minimum.
That makes sense.
And for the city budget, I have gone to the website, especially pertaining to the public arts. It is not very easy to navigate yourself to reach what you want to search. And for public arts, there are 2 different ways you have to go. One just for the commission that you go through redondo.org, and one through the cultural arts, I think, and where you get more details of the actual public art. So it is very cumbersome, even for me to navigate, and I am pretty computer expert that way. So I mean, there should be one person who is handling the IT, the websites, to make it much more easier and user-friendly. So if they can, we have always been told that they don't have a dedicated person, or there are a number of queues of items, and our suggestion for anything as far as marketing, even marketing for any of the proposals that we want to do has not been very easy. Now we have a cafe and we put it through, so we go the other way around. We don't go through our own website. So if there was a dedicated, maybe, a proper website where things can go in, so if there's a budget amount for marketing the commission stuff and any activities that we are doing that a person can put forth on the website, and easily navigable website is something I think they don't have a budget for it, or there should be an allocation for an initial amount or something.
Madam Vice Chair, can I just add something to my comments? Just
Sure.
very briefly. My intent is not to, blame anybody or say that something was done wrong. I know that funding for arts is not the top priority in several communities, not only Redondo Beach. If it were for other things like public safety or, firefighting or even education, it would be very visible, very transparent. But as part of the Public Art Commissioners or a commission, I think we need to see a more detailed accounting of, at least on a yearly basis, part of the budget process, like how much money came in, from where, and how much money is going to be spent. And if there's a historical data, that would be great. Now, my humble guess is going to be a larger number, but that's just a guess. I may be wrong. Maybe a lot of people have done their own public arts projects to fulfill their obligations, but I don't know where they are. And that's where the app comes in, because after all, it's public arts and we don't know where they are. And if it's a larger number, then the typical criticism that you get is, what are you going to do with that money? Are you going to buy like this much art? That's a little bit too much art. Therefore, it wasn't with bad intentions, but it could have been oversight. I've seen these situations before. If that's the case, then we can connected to what I was saying earlier about what you suggested we can do in the strategic meeting, we can broaden the scope of our commission or even the fund. For example, we can establish scholarships. We can increase the amount which will go into the Performing Arts Center.
We can pay for consultants.
We can pay for consultants. We
staff
can do our
Yeah. That's what we're mining for to help,
our own much larger scale art fairs, things like that. So I don't think that any of the staff or anybody in finance or anybody in the community should not think that what are they going to do with that money? I mean, it's going to go to like all the murals and that kind. It can be much, much beyond that.
It'd be a greater scope, yes.
Thank you.
No, I understand what you're saying. Okay, may I go back to Commissioner Sharma's comments?
Yes.
I just need clarification. We just finished building a brand new website. So is the ask for more money for the website? Or do you just want somebody?
I want the website, especially which pertains to the Public Art Commission, to be more easily navigable.
Okay, we can do that. I mean, that's just a matter of assigning staff to go and just focus on that for 2 days and fix it. So that's not part of the budget. We can do that internally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Yeah.
because we had requested, I think, some time ago about certain things, and then it was like, the IT is too busy. They cannot put this on the website. There is a huge queue, and so it was always like we were not given any forget priority. I mean, we were not even given a chance.
No, I understand what you're saying. So with the new website, it's on the staff's end, on the back end, it is far more easy for us as staff, day-to-day people. Gary has access, I have access. We can go in and manipulate the pages and create news items and create sections that are far easier for folks to see and get to. So it's just a matter of staff dedicating that time to arrange the pages in a way that are a bit more visible and easy to access. So that's just something we can do internally.
Okay, and maybe, I don't know how it works, but maybe in the Public Arts Commission page, maybe there should be a link for the cultural arts, because that is a whole
it connects
separate
it
way
all.
to go, yeah.
Yeah, no, that
Otherwise,
makes sense.
Yeah, if you wouldn't know, then you don't know how to navigate beyond the Public Arts Commission page. It kind of becomes a dead end, and that is just a more generic government kind of a page where it says that this is the commission, these are the people in the commissions, and this is how you can, apply to be on part of the commission. That's what it is. It doesn't go beyond what the public
That's where it
arts
stops,
does
yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we can do that internally. Yeah.
okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
I just
mean,
wanna say-
I thought it was a money issue also along with it. so.
No.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner Cagle?
Oh, I just want to say thank you very much to my fellow commissioners for all those wonderful suggestions.
Thank you. Is there a timeline for this? Is there a deadline for the letter?
Yes, we need to get it done in the next week.
May I suggest that we individually send our thoughts about this to Madam Vice Chairman, or to you, or to staff?
Or
I just want to be careful
Yeah.
that the thoughts you share are what we discussed as a group
Okay,
tonight. So don't
exactly.
add like 3 other, it has to be a consensus.
Okay,
And so you can share, you can send it to me, because I can put it together for
Okay.
her. And she can run her eyes for the final edit if that's the desire of the entire commission. You have to vote to have Vice Chair Christian Kelly make the final call and put her signature on it.
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Will you make that motion
I will make the motion
after you
to,
take public comment?
oh, sorry, public comment.
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Are there any, no comments? No. Okay, so then, I guess I
Make a
make a
motion
motion
to
to
have commissioners
the commissioners send you any of their input, basically, of
budget
of the
recommendations
recommendations.
discussed tonight
And discussed tonight
to me,
to Elizabeth House.
and giving Vice Chair Christian Kelly the ability to sign that letter and
then-
approve it.
I
Yeah,
second.
because it wouldn't be Olivia, oh, sorry, it wouldn't be Olivia if she's here, or I don't know.
I would feel more comfortable having you review it, given
Okay.
that you were here, if
Okay, I
that's
just wanna
okay
make
with the
sure it's
rest of the
appropriate.
commission.
I didn't want to not have her, okay.
I second.
Do we get to see if people, if the other commissioners put in items which is beyond? Do the other commissioners get to?
That's my task, to ensure that what we discussed tonight are the only items on that list. And it's
Okay.
also the task of the vice chair to ensure that I didn't miss anything and didn't include anything extra. So essentially with this motion, you're tasking both of us to reflect exactly what was
I just wanna make
discussed
sure.
tonight.
Did you have a
discussed.
question? Did you have a
Okay.
question from
No, well, sort of a question, but I think I get the gist of it, is everything we discussed here tonight, we have to send that same stuff. We just discussed it here and we're going to
You're going
send
to
it
be
to them.
sending it to,
You don't have to, because I have my notes.
Okay, so what I discussed
But
about
if
that-
there's a specific way, I know Commissioner Tanner may want to phrase things a certain way to make
okay.
sure that the spirit of your recommendation is captured, you're welcome to send that to me, but I can capture your request for extra staffing easily enough in that letter,
Okay.
so you don't have to.
Yeah, okay.
And I believe those were the two primary ones.
right.
Yeah,
Can I
and
make a
everything else was
motion?
strategic plan oriented or something staff can do pretty easily.
Okay.
So make a motion.
And the utility boxes.
the-
And the utility.
Yeah,
Those
yeah,
are
yeah,
three
those
items,
Yeah,
so-
yeah, for sure.
The
That should be,
utility,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
that's good.
We need
Make
that
a motion.
reflected, so.
You made that
I
motion?
made, but who would, oh,
Need a second?
a second, yes.
I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, nobody is opposed, and motion carries. All right. Member items and referrals to staff.
So this is just an opportunity if you want to go down the line again and collect any announcements.
Okay, I would like to.
Yeah, you can start with you.
announcement As Doug Nielsen, we are so grateful for all of his amazing help and work that he's done for us, for Redondo Beach, for the city, for the, what,
Has 35 years.
35 years. And so I would like to give a shout out to,
Thank you, Doug.
thank you, Doug.
Thank you so much.
Yay! Should we have him on film? He should have been given a wave. Can you come come and give a wave?
Breeze through
Can he
the,
come?
He could if he chooses to.
I know.
There
Do
you
a
go.
wave so everybody can see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We were so lucky to have you. Okay, so is there a motion to, can I do
Oh,
adjournment?
you might
sorry.
want to go through everyone, see if there's
Oh,
any
yeah,
other
so sorry.
announcements, and you may want to speak
I was
about the
rushing it.
city's birthday.
Can you tell it's Friday? I'm so sorry.
yes,
Do you want to
yes,
speak
I
about the
can.
city's birthday celebration?
Oh, and I do want to, that is, thank you. I could tell it, you can definitely tell it's Friday. I apologize. We definitely want to hope that everybody can come tomorrow. It is going to be Redondo Beach's 132nd birthday, and there's going to be a wonderful celebration with the Historical Museum, with having jugglers and entertainers. We, at the Morel House with the Redondo Beach Historical Society, are going to have birthday cake and, give the home tours. And again, that's going to be on Flagler Lane, next to the dog park, and it's where the, again, the Redondo Beach Museum is, and the Redondo Beach Historical Society with the Morel House. And it's just going to be fun from 10 to 3. So, yeah, hope all.
Happy birthday,
See it up on
Redondo
that.
Beach.
I know. Happy birthday, Redondo Beach. So that's mine. Commissioners, do you have anything to
I
add?
have something. Okay. I would like the utility boxes on the next agenda. Is that possible?
I'm going to do my best, just so everyone knows, I will not be here at the next regular meeting. It will be Gary carrying that item, so I just want to make sure he's prepared
Okay.
to do that, but soon, and if you really want to speak about it soon, at the next meeting, you can vote for another special meeting in June, so we meet monthly. No, okay. Commissioner Tanner shakes his head no.
We'll be here.
Summaries.
June.
But
Yeah,
if I
June's not
can,
gonna be
if I can, I will try my best to
Okay,
prepare
okay.
that
I
item so
understand.
that
I
you can carry
understand.
it and really provide you the information you're looking for, because it's quite a bit. But I'll do my best.
Okay.
But we had requested that, like, I think 2 meetings ago, to
Yeah,
have
so-
that on the agenda.
So that's in the, it's definitely in the process. Like they have it in their system.
And what about the items from the previous agendas to also put all of that? All that has been already requested to be put on the agenda, so it's not still showing. So
What are we referring to?
Yeah,
I'm referring to items that we previously talked, which are open to be.
Yes,
on
you
the-
made a referral to staff at the last meeting to have a list of ongoing projects and their status.
Yeah, so that will be on the agenda.
I will do my best.
And
Okay, and which will probably definitely include the utility boxes.
It's,
remind,
If I may, just real quick, I'll take this opportunity to make an announcement. So I don't know if you saw on the agenda, I am currently serving as the interim community services director. Cameron Harding is no longer with the city. I'm also continuing my duties and tasks with the city manager's office. So I have a lot of work on my plate, and then I have Gary as well. So we are doing our best to bring you everything that you're asking for. We know it's very important to you, and just understanding that I won't be here to support Gary for the next meeting. I want to be mindful of what I promise you. All I can say is that I will do my best to collect that information and research for you, write the staff report, and get Gary in a place where he's comfortable to present that to you in a way that's helpful to you and answers all the questions you've had.
appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
and when is our next meeting, please, again?
Next month.
Where, the
It
date?
is.
22nd?
The 22nd,
Yeah.
right? 22nd?
It is May 22nd.
Okay, thank you.
You want to continue down the line?
Yes. So,
Good.
any? We're good? Okay, we can go to
You can adjourn.
adjourn. So is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
To the next regular meeting of May
The
22nd.
next, yeah, so can I read that then?
Yes.
Okay, the next meeting of the Redondo Beach Public Art Commission will be a regular meeting to be held at 7 PM on May 22nd, 2024, in the Redondo Beach Council Chambers at 415 Diamond Street, Redondo Beach, California. It is the intention of the city of the Redondo Beach to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act's ADA in all respects. If, as an attendee or participant at this meeting, you will need special assistance beyond what is normally provided, the city will attempt to accommodate you in every reasonable manner. Please contact the city clerk's office at 310-318-0656 at least 48 hours prior to the meeting to inform us of your particular needs and to determine if accommodation is feasible. Please advise us at that time if you will need accommodations to attend or participate in the meetings on a regular basis. An agenda packet is,
Vice Chair Christian Kelly? I'm not sure what you're reading, but you don't have to read all that.
I don't,
You don't.
oh my
Got a
gosh.
second. I
Just make a motion
enthusiastically,
to
I'm so
adjourn the meeting.
sorry. I was
I
like, it's Friday. I
enthusiastically
know.
second the
Thank you.
meeting,
Sorry.
the idea to
And
adjourn this meeting.
Can you
Okay,
make a motion to
I'm
adjourn?
making a motion to adjourn.
Can we get a second?
We all second.
We all
Okay.
second. I think
All in
Diane actually did
favor? All in
first.
favor? Aye, okay, thank you,
I
everyone.
apologize. I thought I was supposed to read that. Well, it's a little
Yeah, we all know now. You got it.